Welcome everybody to Overreaction Lunes with the Compas. I'm Fernando Ramirez. I cover the Chargers for the Sporting Tribune. With me, as always, my co-host, my tag team partner, Gilbert Manzano. He covers the NFL for Sports Illustrated. What's up, bro?
What's up, Fernando? An intriguing week in the NFL. Week 8, the Chargers, no problem against the Bears. How did that
Ah,
happen? I mean,
Bears. Yeah,
the
I know
Bears.
that was pretty interesting. 30-13 matchup. Yesterday, right around the second quarter, Gilbert had a huge smile on his face, and I was like, "Oh wow!" I'm like, "I don't know what that smile is all about." And then he hung out with me for a couple minutes, so I think I think he does love me. So obviously, it was good to see you. That's why I enjoy those Charger games. I mean, obviously for everything that we do, but on top of that, I get to hang out with you and chat with you and everything. We live kind of at a distance, so it's cool to kind of get together and chat a little bit. But what did you? I mean, Sunday Night Football.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people were questioning why keep this game on Sunday Night
yeah.
Football. Were you one of those?
Oh, for sure. It was a boring, atrocious game to watch, but I'm sure for Chargers fans, it was a nice game, a welcome game to watch where it's, a lopsided victory for the Chargers, not the other way around. Not a one-score game where you're freaking out, you're stressing out. So I'm sure it was a welcome change of pace. But speaking of pace, Fernando, it got so boring and out of hand that I started pacing around the press box. I'm like, "Hey, Fernando, you want to talk to me?" When most times I'm busy. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I got to write on deadline. It's like, what are you doing over here, man? Oh, you want me to take a video of you with Justin Herbert? I gotcha. So things like that.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty cool video. I appreciate that. I gave you proper credit, obviously, as one should do. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting. I mean, if you're that's why I've said, like, I understand some people are kind of like, well, why is this game kept here? The Chargers are the most interesting team in the NFL. Like, their games are always something's gonna happen. So I guess last night my theory wasn't right, but I mean the one thing that did happen, Justin Herbert was nearly perfect the whole game. He did a lot of good things, a lot of good passes. I mean, I know everybody's gonna talk about there weren't really that many passes past 9 yards and everything, but it was, I mean, you have to find different ways to win. They found a different way to win yesterday. A lot of it was throws underneath the Eckler. Eckler had like 90, like 96, 94 yards receiving. Keenan Allen had 8 for 69, or Jason, whatever you want to call him this morning. Gilbert, the big part was Quentin Johnston got involved
Yeah.
on that drive, on that 2-minute drive. They went. Justin Herbert found him 3 times. Well, in one of them, he evaded about 3 tacklers. That was pretty impressive because that's what you had heard this whole time about Quentin Johnston. That's what you had heard from TCU. Like, the way this dude is kind of able to slither away from defenders is pretty interesting, and we got a front row seat to it on Sunday night. Maybe this is a thing of or a foreshadowing of things to come.
Yeah, I know people are gonna say, well, it's the Bears and it's Tyson Badgett.
Bears.
Is it Bajan or Badgett, right? Badgett. And he came down to earth. He didn't really do much. The Bears didn't do much as a whole, but it was one of those games where, like, it was a get right game. Make sure everybody, the ones that have struggled, make sure they get right. You haven't had Corey and Lindsley, offensive line, better performance, get right. Oh no, Mike Williams. All right, here we go. Quentin Johnson, this is your game. Get right. Joshua Palmer and a little banged up, but to see him hop off like that and come back, tough dude right there. And then Justin Herbert just needed a game where, like, the finger wasn't bothering him. I know you asked him for the 1,000th time about the finger, but he looked great. So it was just one of those games where everybody just felt good. Even Keenan Allen talking to you in the Jason mask, like, that was pretty cool to see. It was
Yeah.
a lively environment, and they needed something to kind of pick them up. And Fernando, I've been critical. You've been critical. I think my guy Athir in the comments thinks that I've been too critical. We'll find out what he wants to talk to me about. But they have hope now. Chargers have hope. They're back in the race. I don't know if people want hope, but hey, the wild card, 7 seed, 6 seed in the AFC, not out of reach just yet. In a big time game against the Jets on Monday Night Football.
Thea, I don't think that's how it works anymore. You're talking about the flexing. No, they can start flexing. They started flexing from week 6. They just haven't flexed any games yet. Yeah, that's right, Gilbert? Like, they could
Yeah,
have started flexing from like week 4, week 5, something like that.
yeah, I think they changed the rules, but I'm not 100% right. But is that really the problem you have with me, Athir, that I criticize the Chargers being on prime time? It was more about the Bears. Like Fernando said, the Chargers have intriguing games, but I don't want to see Tyson Badgett against Justin Herbert on prime time. And I was proven correct. That was a snoozer, but I know for Chargers fan, it was encouraged and they liked it. They want more of
He
those.
said no, sir.
All right, keep it going then. But I
He's
don't care
going.
about
He's going the Thule route, calling you sir. But it just like you said, like they needed a get right game. This is a game that can make. I mean, this victory could either, or this game was going to make or break their season. I think, because moving forward now, I mean, they have a tough 6 game stretch, and I told you last night when you graciously jumped on for Dan and Dago, who was trying to navigate himself through. He said that the in and out line supposedly was about an hour and 15 minutes long, and he decided to
really.
go to decided to go to Chipotle, and he's like, I don't know how you can eat that crap. I'm like, oh, you didn't like it? He's like, no. I'm like, I was like, Chipotle's good. He's like, yeah, right. It was trash. So I just started laughing. I'm surprised you didn't see him in the parking lot when you left. Like, I told him, I'm like, you didn't see Gilberto? He's like, no, I didn't. He's like, did he pass by? I'm like, I'm pretty sure he did. I don't think the Chargers give him red lot and make him
No,
hype.
I went
So.
through the long way or the PS1 way, but I didn't see him. And speaking of Chipotle, Fernando, like Chipotle is not great, but sometimes it just gets a job done, and like that's what the Chargers needed again. Like the Chipotle was the Bears, right? You go in there and you eat your food, you handle your business, and you destroy the Bears and you destroy the burrito bowl and you move on. But it's not great. It's not an amazing food, but
No,
your
no,
brother had
no,
to
no.
do
But
what he
again,
had
it's
to
like
do,
you said.
Fernando.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's. I mean, honestly, it's white people food. Like it really is. I mean, hi from Santiago, Chile.
Yeah.
It's actually really. Morgan says they're heartbreaking games. I mean, yes and no. I mean, there's times where they're in it and they have a chance. I mean, how many times haven't we seen them compete against the Chiefs? I mean, I know it happens late in games, but I mean, at one point your luck has to change. I mean, why not starting now? But yeah, no, I just thought it was a good game. The only thing is, Gilbert, and there's 2 things I harp on. Third down defense is
Yeah.
still a problem. The other thing I kind of harped on was the running game. They couldn't get it
Yeah.
going. And that's been a big problem. I mean, I know, and the problem is everybody kind of wet their beak a little bit with that first game where they rushed for all those yards. And ever since then, I mean,
That was
it just
wild.
hasn't been the same. But another positive that I think is yesterday, Austin Eckler finally looked like the Austin Eckler pre high ankle sprain. So he was running for that 39-yard touchdown. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think he was gonna make it. Like I thought he was gonna get like hit at the 10 or something, and they were gonna have to go down. And he turned on the Jets, and I was like, oh wow, okay, there he goes. Like that's I mean, obviously it's
He
not
was like
no.
so shifty. Like what's that game? It's like the one with the frog in the middle of the freeway. He has to like move around
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Frogger, yeah. Like that was Austin Eckler, man. I'm like, I know he's not old, but that was vintage Austin Eckler. Like when he's a threat in the passing game and the running game, and he's breaking tackles, shifty. He's a small dude, but he's strong. One of the pound for pound strongest guys in the locker room, which is Anthony Lynn. What he called him that back in the day. 2019 feels like a long time ago, Fernando. But when Eckler was at his best as a versatile
Yeah.
running back, that was kind of giving me like throwback Eckler when he was doing the shiftiness. So that's what you need, right, Fernando? When you're missing Mike Williams and you still have young guys trying to find their way, like a Quentin Johnson, like you need him to step up in the passing game. But I'm with you. I have concerns about that rushing attack. Like Joshua Kelly provides glimpses of being a decent quality back. But if you're asking Austin Eckler to do more in the passing game, you better step up as a running back. I know the trade deadline is coming up, 1 p.m. Pacific on Halloween. I don't expect any moves. You don't either, but it'll be nice to get a bruising running back somehow. Maybe Derrick Henry, but I don't think he's going to be available.
Yeah, no, I understand the screens are kind of
Yeah.
like the run game, but I mean, you can't depend on them moving forward because it's going to be tough. Gilbert, plot twist. Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon told reporters that either Kyler Murray or rookie Clayton Tune will be starting against Cleveland on Sunday, not Josh Dobbs.
Wow,
So
already.
that's a big plot twist right there, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, Call of Duty or a Tune. What are you going to go with? I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Supposedly Call of Duty is going to drop in a new game, and people are concerned about it. But
I would be concerned too. But lastly, before we move on from Chargers talk, if you guys want more Chargers talk, we get into it last night on What's Up Bolts. Make sure you go check that out. Gilbert graciously stepped in for Dan and Dago, who went to the game with our cousin, and he was trying to find food after. Didn't bring me anything again. So that was kind of a shame. I had to stop at In-N-Out at like 12 midnight. We got so much traffic in Oceanside. I was like, you know what? I'm freaking starving. Like, I need something to eat. The food was terrible yesterday at SoFi,
Oh man.
so I needed to stop.
Yeah.
But
Well, before I give you my input on the food real quick, I just want to let people know, the listeners and viewers of here, Compas on the Beat Live. If we move on to a different game, you can still ask questions about the Chargers. We're gonna stop. Ask me
yeah, we'll jump
questions up
back.
here. That's fine too. I want to hear questions and be engaging. But and I love you too, Adir. We have a good back and forth love hate relationship, but all love. I shouldn't say hate,
The
but go ahead.
the Jets defense will bring it on Monday. They are not afraid of Herbert. How important the
Oh, for
Bolts
sure.
defense bring it. Oh, this 100%. And we'll get into, you know what? We'll get into Chargers Jets a little bit more when we talk about the Jets coming up at the year. So make sure we'll jump into that.
And real
And
quick, Fernando, on the review of the Mexican food at SoFi Stadium press box. Yes, it was terrible, but one of the sweetest ladies in the press box who helps
oh yeah,
out, they're cleaning
really
and
nice.
doing the food. She was like, you should try it. And I kind of like, all right, fine, I'll do it. It was the chile rellenos. And I like the cheese, and I'll leave it at that. It was a mistake on my part, but I wanted to be nice, and you were the person that made the right move of not trying it. But they had tamales with cheese. I don't know what they were fascinating with cheese, but yeah, whatever that was yesterday, I wasn't a big fan of. Just to give you my
Well,
review of the SoFi Stadium press box.
well, I mean, and the thing is that I mean, you're kind of hoping that it's gonna be good or whatever, and you're kind of like, like I don't know. I was kind of hoping for more. But you know what's funny, Gilbert, speaking of the food there, I kind of asked the people at SoFi, I'm like, hey, do you guys have video of Gilbert heading to the bathroom as soon as he ate that chile relleno? They're like, dude, we got you, Joan Trip.
What
I'm
do you
like, all
have for
right,
me?
cool.
God.
It's I can't say it. S break. There you go.
It's from American Pie. I had to do that one, but real quick, Gilbert, the trade deadline, as you said, is on Halloween Day. Do they make a trade?
When you're
Part of the deal.
when you won the game like that, and you look at the standings, and you have a big time game in New York City, or not New York City, New Jersey, wherever they play, East Rutherford, MetLife Stadium, and you could beat the Jets, you're probably looking at a 7 seed already, and you're back in the playoff mix. So, like I mentioned on What's Up, Bolts, thank you for letting me appear on your amazing show, Fernando. I'm like, it's now or never. Like, this core group is probably their last year, so might as well just do it. And again, Tom Telesco, year 11, no AFC West titles. Brandon Staley struggling in his first 2 years and a half as a head coach. Go all in. Just do it. It's okay. The Eagles do it all the time. Like, and one thing they should probably remember, like, Fernando, a year ago, the Chargers were struggling until they had that amazing December, right? Like, things could change so quickly. And I know I was the most critical person last week, but you won the game. You handle business. The standings are working out for you. Make a move.
You can't let the victory on Sunday overshadow the fact, like Dan and Dago said, you were playing the Chicago Bears. You're gonna need reinforcements. You're gonna need something. I know people might think, if you go, like we said last night, if you go get a DeAndre Hopkins, like that's gonna hurt the development of Quentin Johnson. No, it just gets in another savvy veteran who could help him along the way. I know what he needs is like to catch or to get more passes. I mean, that could open it up for him. And like Gilbert said last night, Joshua Palmer is banged up. So you're gonna need another guy out there. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, the defensive line, cornerback, safety. I mean, offensive line, I just don't think you can make a trade during the season to kind of help that out. But receiver, I mean, even tight end, I really do think that I know Donald Parham played well last night. I was actually really impressed with him, but I still think they kind of need a little bit more oomph. But I really do think cornerback, safety, man, just another safety would be would do. And I know people are really high on Alohi Gilman and Dean Marlowe and everything, but I think
Yeah. These people are tough, Fernando.
Daniel Hunter and and Buda Baker. Gilbert mentioned that one last night, but I would just be very surprised. I think I'd be very surprised if that happened. Morgan, honestly, I have to disagree. The overrated part. I know but that's the thing. You're looking at the product now. Like, remember, people thought RG3 was way better than Andrew Luck, and Andrew Luck ended up. I mean, obviously, both of their careers.
You're going way back.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, I'm
I
just
think you're
trying
gonna
to.
say Mike. People thought Mike Williams was a bust, and he was
Well,
he's been
yeah,
the
okay,
most
there,
touched
yeah, Mike
receiver.
Williams. Everybody thought Mike Williams was the best. Hey, I was around the team in 2013 when everybody thought Keenan Allen was a not a bust because he was a third round
Yeah.
pick. He had the first round potential, but he dropped because of a knee injury. Everyone was saying because Keenan did not start in his first 2 games, he didn't even. I don't even think he suited up against the Houston Texans in Week 1 when they got turned around and they were up 24-0. It was Tom Telesco's first game as a GM, Mike McCoy. They went into the halftime 24-0. Texans come back, beat them 28-24, something like that. It was crazy. That was the famous same old story. But people thought that those guys were busts, and look, they've all turned it around. They've done some good stuff. So I'm not gonna, after 6 or 7 games, I'm not gonna go on a limb and say that he's overrated. I still think that Quentin has a good head on his shoulders. He said yesterday, today was a building block. This is about moving forward and building on this. So I'm really impressed with the kid. I'm not gonna call him overrated yet. So
And
I
let me
just
say this
yeah.
here on the offense is not the problem. My thing for a big time game with the Jets, and this is probably just looking at the one game coming up. The Jets won't be able to score that many points, and I get the Chargers defense has been pretty bad, but we know what's going to happen with Zach Wilson. It's going to be 14 to 17, maybe 20 points. I know he's your guy, Fernando, but the
Manhattan
Char-
Milton.
the Chargers offense better score some freaking points against that very good Robert Saleh defense, because I think that game it has a lot of implications to either you're going somewhere or you're
Both
not.
teams.
So that offense really needs to be on point. But you're right. I know.
The Jets are feeding off of, like, watching Aaron Rodgers warm up before the
Oh
game.
yeah, you're seeing
I
that.
think the Jets are feeding off of that every single
I didn't
game.
believe you when you were saying, yeah, he could come back. I'm like, yeah, sure. And then they have life. You've been
This
on it.
week he was actually like when Russell Wilson was hurt with his hand a couple of years ago. I remember he went out there and did a fake simulation. Like Aaron Rodgers was doing that yesterday, and I was like, damn, dude, like you look like you're literally a month away from being back. And if they can get it going, I mean, they're gonna be impressive moving forward. But Joshua Dobbs gets traded. I don't know.
I wonder if the Vikings make a call because of Kirk Cousins,
Oh,
but I don't know. That'd be kind of tough to get traded again and start again.
That sucked for Kirk Cousins because he bet on himself. He's a free agent after this year. I was kind of the mindset of this Brock Purdy thing keeps on going south. I thought he was good. Kirk Cousins could be the ghost. Who are you gonna call Ghostbusters? Kirk Cousins. Real quick, Morgan said we can agree to disagree. He played one side of the field at TCU and he didn't know the playbook. Yeah, but I mean, there's always criticisms. I mean, with Mike Williams, it was the neck and that he wasn't a big time receiver and that all he could do was down the field stuff. And I mean, that's just always
that's the thing. Like that's kind of probably maybe I feel like Mike Williams was more developed and he had injuries. But I was gonna say with Quentin Johnson, like a lot of people are saying this guy is really good. His skill set is amazing, but he's just not ready yet. And maybe that could be the real thing. Like that upside, that potential that you betted on, it just probably is gonna take longer. And like you were saying, Fran, like they already had Mike Williams and they had Keenan Allen, but you got to think about the future about with Justin Herbert. And I think it was more of a pick for the upside, and now he's being asked to contribute more. And maybe it's a struggle, but yesterday was fine. It was encouraging. I don't know.
Yeah, Mike was more dynamic. I mean, yeah. Well, not his first year. His first year, I remember he was getting dragged through the mud, but that's because he had that back injury. Palamont, for our amigo from Chile. I sacrifice myself as tribute. I will date Selena Gomez for the good of anybody, whoever needs that good. I will date Selena Gomez. I got it. Don't trip. I volunteer as tribute. I'm that guy. I will date Selena Gomez for the good of this team, this country, whatever you guys need. I'm your man. I will date her. So I'm all good. I see. That's what I am. I'm that type of guy. I'm willing to sacrifice myself.
Yeah, that could have been a great storyline for the Sunday Night Football broadcast. Selena Gomez dates Chargers beat reporter, and it could have been a whole storyline, But
I mean, I'm just saying
they missed the boat.
Hey, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, that's old news. Like, let's move on to this. I got you. Morgan, I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, I try and be. I'm just saying. But all right, Gilbert, the Cowboys, are they all the way back? Have they rescued your thoughts on who they were, especially after a 43-20 victory over the LA Rams? Dak Prescott, 25 of 31, 304, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. The run game still hasn't gotten going. Tony Pollard, 12 for 53. CeeDee Lamb, hey, he was complaining, but right before he played the Chargers, he's like, hey,
Yep.
we need to do something about this offense. 12 receptions, 158, 2 touchdowns. Brandon Cooks, 3 for 49, 1 touchdown. Ferguson, 4 for 47, 1 touchdown. So, Gilbert, are they all the way back?
They are not all the way back. And this is one of the few times that I'm not going to overreact, Fernando, because I can't forget about that beatdown in Santa Clara where, that was the last time the 49ers won a game, surprisingly. But the Cowboys got spanked against the 49ers. And you go and beat, no offense, Rams fans and Chargers fans, but kind of so-so teams in LA, you handle business. But every year your goal is to want to win a Super Bowl, not to lose in the division around every single year, which they still feel that way. Maybe they'll win a wild card game. I'm not even sure about that, Fernando. But yeah, you handle business. That's pretty cool. But I was impressed that they're finally getting CeeDee Lamb more involved. That started against the Chargers. You got Tony Pollard also going. Yeah. Okay, you're being a realist. I like that. Shout out to Chile. He's the guy the person from Chile.
Yeah.
So they usually beat the so-so teams. I'll be nice today and say so-so teams. And that's why I picked the Cowboys to beat the Rams, because the Rams have been so-so. Shout out to the people in House of Horns, because last time they got on me for being very critical. And the Rams are just fading fast. I think that's the bigger spotlight here, Fernando. The Rams started out pretty good, but all the everything we were concerned about heading into the season, no talent. They have talent. I shouldn't say no talent. Some talent and a lot of inexperience. It's a very different group. And when you see the 0-3 against the 49ers, Eagles, and the Cowboys, 0-4 against the Bengals were banged up early, but you're not in the big boy leagues just yet, Rams. And they beat the Seahawks, and everybody started believing. I'm like, this team can't score points right now. I don't know what's going on with Sean McVay. Matthew Stafford has a bad hip injury that's starting to hurt him. The thumb injury might keep him out for another month. Who knows? It's bad.
By the way, it was reported by Sarah Matthew Stafford has a UCL sprain in his right thumb and his day-to-day.
Yeah, he's probably gonna go on IR soon, and he might need it because the hip injury too has been really bad. Well, the Cowboys did lose to the Cardinals. The Rams' only good game in the past month, which that tells you how funny. Cardinal. Yeah, the Cardinals. But it's been so, like, when they're not playing the Cardinals, the Rams, since that game against the Colts, they've been pretty bad, and that's when the hip injury happened. So, I don't like to brag too much because somebody called the Cowboys route in Dallas against the Rams, but
my hermana from Chile. There's nothing wrong with sacrificing 4 years to win a Super Bowl. I mean, honestly, like, I understand, like, that's the narrative that I told Gilbert. As soon as they won the Super Bowl, Gilbert and I were sitting in that press box, and I told them this was what it was all about. It was worth it. Everything that they did, all the contracts that they backtracked, all the contracts, I'm like, they could suck for the next 10 years, but this is what it mattered. What mattered? 2 things: winning a Super Bowl in LA and being the first team to win a Super Bowl in LA. Yeah. So they did that. They were able to do it. I'm sure Les Snead is not like, I'm sure, yes, part of him is like, crap, we need to be more competitive. We can't get dog railed by the Cowboys the way we did.
Yeah.
But at the same, or dog walked. But at the same time, like, hey, you look over, you're like, crap, there's a Lombardi sitting right there.
Yeah.
We didn't do too bad. We've done it before. So, by the way, Vic, if you are listening, Vic, the producer, cut out that Selena Gomez clip so we can throw it on Instagram. Let's see if magic happens.
She's interested and like,
hey, you never know.
The way it worked for Travis Kelce, he shot his shot. You never know.
That's what I'm saying. But definitely, but I'm telling you, Gilbert, like, this weekend is going to be an interesting. Moving on, or just last thing on the Rams. The Rams, like I said, they're building something. Whether Sean McVay is going to be there or not, I don't know. Whether Matthew Stafford is on his last legs, like, I think he's at that point now where it's like, dude, like, you spend probably as much time with your family as you do in an ice bath. That's what happens when you get beat up. I mean, we all saw it, and I know obviously it's a show, but in Ted Lasso, like, how many hours didn't Roy Kent spend, like, working on his body, trying to get up there? And at one point you just notice, you're like, crap, I'm just not the same speed that I once was. So so this team is moving. And now the interesting part is if they trade Aaron Donald to a contender, like, I'm Philly, dude, and I know obviously with the contract and
Yeah, they
everything,
have plenty at and the
I
defensive
know,
line.
but can you imagine? No, I'm kidding. I don't think they would go get him. But like, if I'm a contending team, like maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars or maybe the
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys should call the Rams and be like, "Hey, we just dog walked you, but what's up with Aaron Donald? Like, we'll give you our next 2 number 2s."
But I feel like the only team he'll say yeah to for a trade, I don't think he has a no trade clause, is the Steelers, and they're kind of bad. So I don't think he's gonna do it. He's from Pittsburgh.
You think he'd do it to the Steelers?
Well,
I think
because he's
I think
from
he'd do it to
there, but also he's probably gonna look at that roster and be like, Kenny Pickett plays over there. I probably have no chance. I'm better off here taking my money with the LA Rams and living in beautiful California. So
that's true. But I think like if he got traded to like, well, the Chiefs are out. Like I'm saying, like Jacksonville, the Cowboys. Like I feel like those 2 teams.
yeah, but you got to keep in mind that this guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's already thinking about retirement a long time ago. Like he's only gonna do it to go home. That's my guess. But and then
I think it would have to be like in soccer where the family stays in LA and he's the only one.
You've been watching too much David Beckham there.
No. That's how a lot of players do. Like a lot of players will just go by themselves, leave their family back home. Like
it's like
there was a
3 or 4 months.
There was a Chargers. Gus Bradley. Gus Bradley, I remember, had left his family in Jacksonville while his kids went to school and and finished kind of their year out there. And he came out to the Chargers by himself. So sometimes coaches do it, sometimes players do it. So I thought maybe Aaron Donald would leave the family there and then go out. And but I mean, obviously being from your family a long time.
Right. But he's playing right now. He's active. Like he might as well win more 1 ring and then leave. But 2 more points before we change, Fernando. That comment said 4 years. I could see the Rams winning next year. So that'd be 2 bad years and win next year. Like they're well on track, making it worth it for that Super Bowl. And one more thing on the Cowboys, for them to prove something and have me back on their bandwagon, beat the Eagles next week, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Speaking of all this, I feel like Aaron Donald was like literally pointing. Remember how he pointed at his hand? Like I feel like he, as soon as he got his ring, he snapped like Thanos. And then like Jalen Ramsey goes away, and then
right? Like it's
Leonard Floyd goes away, Von Miller goes away, and like all of a sudden he's like, crap, like was it
worth it? At what cost?
Yeah, at what cost? But last thing on the Cowboys, I'm with you. What did I say about the Dolphins? If the Dolphins wanted to be taken, and you said it, Gilbert, the Dolphins want to be taken seriously, they needed to beat the Eagles a couple of weeks. Hey, here you go. And you know what sucks? And I'm sure people are going to be posting this all over. Skip Bayless already said Eagles were coming for you. So, you know, if that dude is freaking looking at you and saying like, hey, we're coming for you, like that's going to be plastered all over. Thea real quick said, I love what the Eagles are doing. I'm desperately needed a Halabi Eagles assistant GM to be our charge GM. Pretty God that will happen.
Scouting candidates already. Jeez.
Damn, you guys are quick. No, I mean Howie Roseman, we all know is aggressive, but he's smart at the same time. Like he knows. I'm telling you, Howie Roseman is not done. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make another trade within the next 24 hours to really solidify. Man, I'm telling you, I know that they've just beat the Chiefs, but Patrick Surtain on the Eagles would really change life for them, especially with the Cowboys coming in and you get Patrick Surtain, like that would be crazy.
Don't tell Broncos fan that, because every time either I tweet or I write about Surtain being traded, they get upset. Like he's not going anywhere. He's gonna stay with us. Stop it. They get really upset about that.
Then the 49ers. Then they do the 49ers. Nah, we'll see about that. I'm no Trevon Diggs. That makes it a whole lot interesting. Hey, by the way, Julio Jones caught a touchdown pass, a clutch touchdown pass yesterday for the Eagles. So
by the way,
that's what I was telling you.
Roseman another trade like an hour ago too, so he's always making deals, and he signed
exactly.
Jones like
he sent somebody to the Falcons. Yeah, so I mean,
regardless, he's always looking to make something.
Oh yeah. That phone's gonna be ringing off the hook for the next week. But all right, Gilbert. Moving on. We are talking.
Oh yeah, it's my turn.
Yeah, sorry.
I have been called or summoned to do work.
No,
Bengals, 49ers.
Are the 49ers dead in the water?
I don't know about that.
Are the Bengals back to being
for sure
Simba in The Lion King, where they take their rightful throne? Is Burrowhead coming back? I mean, Joe Burrow. Go ahead. What?
No, that'd be nice because, like, by the way, I picked the Bengals to be my Super Bowl pick, and they're looking nice right now. And then I wouldn't mind seeing a Chiefs-Bengals showdown again in the AFC.
Yeah. Yesterday, the Cincinnati Bengals improved to 4-3 after starting the year pretty rough. They've kind of gotten a couple of games now. The 49ers have now lost 3 games in a row. Brock Purdy has not looked good. 22 of 31, 365 for Purdy, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. George Kittle, 9 catches, 149. Brandon Ayuk, 109, 5 catches. McCaffrey, 64, 1 touchdown. Gilbert, somebody on this program, and I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say, said that they needed to go that the 49ers still need to make an offensive trade. Everybody's talking about their defense, and I get it. But they still, I think, need to make an offensive trade. They need to go get another weapon. I don't know if they're going to do it, but I'm saying they need to, because this team just does not look right.
Well,
You
told me last week, like you told me that Debo can't stay healthy and you can't rely on him for a full season. So yeah.
No, and the thing is, Gilbert, their toughness didn't suit up yesterday. I really do think Trent Williams and Debo Samuel set the tone for that team.
Yeah.
They've missed the last 2 games, I think it was, and they missed most of the. I know. Well, no, I think Trent got it up and he played the rest of that Browns game, and Debo didn't. But I'm not saying that Debo needed to or whatever. I'm just saying like Trent Williams did. But now I'm wondering, like, that toughness is gone. That their pizzazz is kind of gone. Like, they don't have that same fire that they had. Their defense looks weak. Their pass rush isn't what it was. Their secondary is struggling. I don't know what you think, but it just has kind of unraveled.
How do you spend money on Javon Hargrave and your defensive line got worse? Like, you're supposed to be better and applying pressure. And, one thing about the 49ers that we all overlook, they're a finesse team. Like, they don't match up well against the Eagles. They're not as physical. Trent Williams gives them that one element of being physical. And Debo makes you a matchup nightmare to account for. Judy or DeAndre Hopkins for the 49ers, yeah, I could totally see them like, hey, you know what? 3-game losing streak. Debo, we can't rely on you for a full season. We need you. We love you. But let's get another talent here and make it work. And Fernando, I know the spotlight's on Brock Purdy right now. And yeah, I get it. I'm the one that call him a top 10 quarterback, but nobody cares about quarterback rankings in San Francisco. They need him to be good enough. And that when you have a good enough quarterback with a very good defense, that's enough right there. But that defense, that's the one that sets the tone of being physical. When you have a physical defense, you go play with the bruisers against like the Eagles. That defense is getting carved up. I know Joe Burrow's Joe Burrow, but he completed his first 19 passes yesterday. I kept watching that game, about to flip something because I picked the 49ers. I'm like, can you defend this guy or something? It was just bad. Like, if you don't have the defense, Fernando, it doesn't matter how Brock Purdy plays or not. You're not going to beat the Eagles for sure.
No, yeah, I completely agree. And obviously, yeah, the Niners have a bad run defense. Their offensive line has had holes. We all know, even last year, even for years past, like Mike McGlinchey. I mean, I guess he was serviceable, but it just wasn't a good offensive line. I think they've kind of gone away from that. I mean, I know they love running the football, and they haven't been able to these last few weeks. But I really do think that they need something. I don't know if what they need. I mean, even if they got Jerry Jeudy or D Hop, I don't think what they need can be solved during the season. I think this is like off season. Like, I've never been of the belief that you can just all of a sudden switch a flip and you're going to be able to stop the run more efficiently. Like, I've heard players say if we get all 11 hats or whatever to the ball, we'll be able to stop the run. Yeah, but I think it takes a defensive scheme change to kind of do some of that stuff at times. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do. Steve Wilkes, I'm sure is getting roasted by 49ers faithful, because obviously DeMeco Ryans' defense looked completely different from what this defense is looking like. Like you said, you add Javon and you think, okay, they're about to be a way better defensive line. They're going to get better. And it just, since that Cowboys game, it just hasn't looked like it. They just look pretty bad. And moving forward, I just don't know what this 49ers team is going to look like. But on the flip side, Joe Burrow seems like he's getting healthier and healthier. And they have a big matchup coming up this weekend against the Buffalo Bills in Cincinnati. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Joe Burrow only had 4 incompletions, 28 of 32, 283, 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, 10 for 100 and 1 touchdown. Higgins, 5 for 69. Boyd, 3 for 40, 1 touchdown. So, I mean, he's spreading the football around. They're doing all the right things. They're running the football better. Mixon had 16 carries for 87 and a touchdown. And their defense, the thing is, their defense is disrupting opposing offenses. Like they're really getting after quarterbacks. They're disrupting them. They're causing them to make mistakes. So I really do think that Cincinnati's starting to kind of hit their stride. That's why I tell everybody, like, it's crazy to see that they're like at the beginning of the season, like everybody's roasting them. And then all of a sudden you kind of turn it around. That's why when you see these teams that start off the gate really hot, everybody's like, oh, yep, Super Bowl. And then everybody's like, oh, the Bengals are dead. They're this, they're that. Here they come now. Their defense is starting to feel themselves. Their offense starting to feel themselves. That's what happens. That's what happens when a team. And I have to give Zach Taylor a lot of credit because obviously we see what's going on in Green Bay. We see what's going on over here, obviously. But moving forward, I really do like the job that Zach Taylor, his staff, everybody, they're putting together a good plan there with the Cincinnati Bengals. That's why I hope that moving forward, they're going to be able to get it going and make that push. Because the Baltimore Ravens, I mean, yeah, everybody loved them a week ago. Yesterday, they kind of were up and down against the Cardinals. And if the Bengals really do put this together, they can challenge that team.
You know what's funny, Fernando? Technically, in the AFC North, the Bengals are in last place right now. They're tied with the like points and all that, but they're tied with the Steelers and the Browns. But it wouldn't surprise me that somehow the Bengals catch up to the Ravens. It's like a 2-game. I think they lost already to the Ravens, so they're 6-2. The Ravens there, and yeah, I saw House of Horns comment that the DC for the Bengals deserves a lot of credit, and they do. That Bengals team looks like it's complete. And when you have a Joe Burrow, who might be the best quarterback in the game. I love Patrick Mahomes, but Joe Burrow is really good too. And he's healthy. That bye week really helped. And going back to your comment, Fernando, yeah, everybody likes to toot their own horns when, hey, I got the 49ers right. Oh, hey, I would told you the 49ers are fraud. Like, it's ups and downs in the season. Again, I like Brock Purdy. I think he's going to be fine. Do not go to Sam Darnold. You come at me telling me Sam Darnold's going to be the best answer, which you might, Fernando. I don't want to hear it. I've seen this guy too many times. But sometimes you got to put the quarterback rankings aside. And when you have Brock Purdy with a complete offense, he's good. He does a good job. And he lost his opportunity to prove that he's better than a top 7 quarterback because he can't do it right now. But if that team's healthy, I like the 49ers. But I'm worried about their toughness. I'm worried about their defense. And the grittiest team in the NFL, it's not Detroit, it's the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're in a good place right now. 7-1, right?
That's the problem, yeah. But that's the problem when Brock Purdy goes and wins all the games that he first had won. I mean, it's great for him. But then when the down happens, that's when you're going to see what kind of team, what kind of player, how they respond. And yeah, obviously the media is going to crap all over them and be like, hey, like Brock Purdy's not what they said. He looks like a 7th round draft pick. Downs are going to happen to everybody. Look at Patrick Mahomes. Everybody says is the next Tom Brady. And look, he got dog walked by the Broncos yesterday.
People were waiting for his one game.
Exactly. For the Well, there was a certain individual.
Yeah, I know. He waited a long time.
He's at work right now. Well, you know what? I'm sure he's taking a nap in his car before going to practice.
It happens, man. It's football. We get picks wrong all the time, you know?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if it could happen to Patrick Mahomes, if Joe Burrow could start the season like that, this kid, I mean, Herbert just went through a 2 or 3 game stretch. No, 2-game stretch where it was bad. And now
he's not clutch, but they forgot everything else he did, you know?
Exactly. So now, like, Brock Purdy just needs to take this, cancel out the noise, and just keep on going. I mean, and the 49ers just need to do right by him. And guys like Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, they got to pick the dude up. George Kittle. They have a lot of leadership on that team. So, I mean, I could already hear Nick, don't worry about it, Brock. We got this. Like, I can already hear him like we got your back. Or
one thing,
like
Fernando, like he could afford to miss a couple of throws. He's been missing throws, all season, but you can't turn over the ball. That's the one thing. Just play clean football. You can have a couple of misfires, but don't turn the ball over. That's it.
Athier Gilbert, please don't be sad. I got the Chargers beating the Jets 14-10.
Why would I be sad about that? Like, that seems like a legit score.
Because he thinks that you're gonna say that the score. Because of the score, you're going to be like 14-10. Like,
I just saw the Jets win in a miracle fashion, beat the Giants 13-10 in the overtime game there, and the Giants have a better defense than the Chargers, so it could be low scoring.
This is true, Daniel. Broncos giving up 70 earlier this season, then 9 to Mahomes and the Chiefs is hilarious. Not just that, but remember a couple of weeks ago. On Thursday Night Football, if Russell Wilson would have been able to muster up anything, they probably could have beaten the Chiefs in Kansas City. They just had a couple of hiccups. I think they beat them like 19-8 or something like that. Like they could have beat them even then, but they had some misfires there. So the Broncos, I mean, who knows? Maybe Sean Payton actually knows what he's doing.
Dude, and Mahomes was also sick, and supposedly people are giving Kelsey crap
be
for
out
being
there.
at the World Series, and he wasn't paying attention to the Broncos. At some point, that streak was supposed to end, and it just happened already. Let's move on. But yeah, what's the next one?
I'm watching the David Beckham documentary, and this reminds me of the David Beckham stuff where he caught all that flag for everything going on. Now all I need is Andy Reid to run up, kick a pile of clothes, and a boot come up and hit Patrick Mahomes in the head like David Beckham. But that would be an interesting story. No, but I mean, the lulls are going to happen now. Obviously, if they lose to the Dolphins in Frankfurt next week. Patrick Mahomes, you and Travis Kelce need to get up and take a page out of Team 3. On the airplane, while everybody's asleep, you need to be up there going aisle through aisle, working out, doing everything that that Russell Wilson did last year when they went to Europe. While everybody was asleep, he was working out. But Gilbert, lastly, the Jets, they survive against the Giants. It was a close game, Gilbert. It was everything that you wanted, Gilbert, 13-10. But Zach Wilson, 17 of 36, 240, 1 touchdown. Garrett Wilson, 7 catches, 100 yards. Breece Hall, 6 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown. This is what you needed from him. Wow. Oh, my God. No way. Is this true?
What happened?
Tyrod Taylor and DeVito, 6 passes completed out of 14 attempts for 7 yards.
Yeah, I didn't even know who this DeVito guy was until yesterday.
How the hell did he score? Did they score 10 points?
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is crazy.
Well, DeVito ran for a touchdown, and they had a bunch of field goals, and they should have won the game, but Graham Gano missed the field goal too.
Yeah, Graham Gano missed. You probably thought that a trade had happened. My bad, guys. False alarm.
Tyrod Taylor going to the Vikings?
No, I was like, wait, what?
Hey, by the way, Tyrod Taylor getting another ribs injury was just like, oh no, you don't want to hear that with him.
Did you see the picture? Like there was a picture of him where he's like Neil.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, well, yeah.
Hunched over. There you go. He was hunched over.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, this is I was like, the Herbert game.
Exactly. What I was impressed with, and I keep on telling you guys, Zach Wilson, I think, and this team is kind of feeding off that Aaron Rodgers stuff. At the end of the game, he brings the team up. They end up. He had a really good throw that I don't think is being talked about enough, where he kind of goes across his body, throws it to the tight end or the receiver. I don't know who it was. And they that's where they got into field goal range, and you're like, wow, that was actually a really good throw. So I'm really impressed with the way I know people are gonna make 13-10. I get it, but for him at the end of the game after that missed field goal to come up, oh yeah, I think he was Daniel. I think he was just discharged from the hospital, and I think they haven't said anything on him, but they said he was discharged. That was all that was said. But yeah, Gilbert, I think that's impressive that Zach Wilson is able to have that moxie, that bravado to come back and win the game.
Yeah, honestly, Fernando, I think his biggest problem was confidence. He's overthinking out there on the field. And when he gets in a groove and in a rhythm, you see why they chose a number 2. Like he's a guy who needs to be in the movement, kind of bootleg wise. Like he kind of reminds me a little bit of Jared Goff with maybe a better throwing arm. Like he said, he could throw opposite to the field. Not the best form, but he can still sling it down the field. But when he's doing bootlegs, play action, that's how he's at his best. And once he gets in the rhythm, and just throw it to Garrett Wilson, little quick throws. And obviously, I have Garrett Wilson in fantasy, and I hate this because he racks up, yards, quietly. But I bet you with Aaron Rodgers, it would have been like a bunch of touchdowns on the field. But he's making it work with Garrett Wilson, and you're playing clean football. Like when I saw that stat line from him, I'm like, okay, here's my guess: no interceptions from Wilson. Garrett Wilson got 100 yards receiving, and the defense did the bulk of the work. I checked the stat line. Yep, there you go. And that's how they win games. Obviously, they needed a miracle in that final minute because that was a chaos. When Graham Gano missed that field goal for him, it was still like 26 seconds left. And then that drive started with Wilson getting sacked by a Kayvon Thibodeau. And all it took was a 30-yard completion to Alan Lazard, and they were in field goal range, and they did the rest. So they shouldn't have won that game.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The LA native now has 6.5 sacks in the last 8 games, I think.
Yeah, he's playing well. He's a little inconsistent, but by the way, the Giants overall, that defense is doing well. They're not the problem. It's definitely the offense there. And I brought up Leonard Williams on What's Up Both yesterday for maybe for the Chargers, but he's not going to Seattle.
That's a good move.
And it is because they're now in first place in the NFC West. They haven't played the 49ers yet. I like the Seahawks a lot. I still favor the 49ers better. But it's a move you got to do. You're in it. You're in the race. Go be aggressive. And the Giants, too, for their part, they got a second round pick out of it. That's pretty good for Leonard Williams. And, they're trying to make it work with Brian Dable. I think they're finally giving up on the core from the other regime. Like, hey, even though they paid Daniel Jones, that was kind of bad. But it tells you it could be the end of this era. But going to the Jets, your fantasy world of having Aaron Rodgers back in the playoffs is looking like they're doing it. You just got to keep doing the same kind of recipe and then holding down the fort. And that defense is really good, Fernando. So I'm really curious about the matchup on Monday night. Like, what can Herbert do against that defense?
I'm so disappointed I'm not gonna be in New York because I'd love to see Aaron Rodgers up
be
close
fun.
and personal to like doing just his drop back and then all that stuff. But
I've never covered a game at MetLife Stadium. That's one of the things I'm missing.
Oh, I know. Neither have I. That would have been. Oh, we should have actually planned for that, and we probably could have gone together. But like remember Washington when we went to that game, and we went to like some Chinese restaurant at like midnight.
Oh yeah, that was good actually. That was a good.
That was one of the best Chinese foods I think I'd ever had. That was really
we were just
good.
walking by and we just stumbled on it.
Yeah. We were like, oh, okay, let's just go here. Oh yeah, because what's his name had given us a ride. Our good friend Sam.
Oh yeah, Sam.
Sam had given us a ride, and that's why we stumbled across
it. A little
it.
Sketchy around the hotel, going around the block, but I want to walk back. But it was fine.
You're not kidding. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I'm impressed with the Jets. If they can keep it going, I mean, they literally let's just check real quick. I'm not even going to talk about the Giants. Chargers and Jets. Then Jets at Raiders. That's going to be an interesting one. Jets at Bills, Dolphins at Jets, Falcons at Jets, and then Texans at Jets. So literally, I mean, the Bills and the Dolphins are the only two outliers. They can win those other 4 games and set themselves up pretty.
Yeah, if they win 10 games, they might get a wild card, and then your dreams of Aaron Rodgers being back might come true. But we'll see.
Yeah, no, we definitely will. That is true. Oh, yeah, that's true. The Jets did just put a couple of offensive, but that's what
Connor McGovern was one of their best linemen. The only one they had that was decent. He got hurt.
Yeah. But that's what Athir was saying, Daniel, is that that he thinks it's going to be an ugly 14. He said 14-10 Chargers, and I think I'm with Gilbert. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game.
Score 20, you probably win the game.
I want to see if how much Herbert goes at Sauce. I'm going to be interested to see kind of how many times he goes at him, but it's definitely going to be a really good game. They have a lot of feisty guys. The problem there is that CJ Mosley is a really good linebacker, and he knows how to disguise. I mean, they made Patrick Mahomes look silly at times when they faced him, so they need to be careful.
Quinnen Williams, Fernando, for the offensive line. Watch out.
Who?
Quinnen Williams for the offensive line.
Oh yeah. He's dangerous. Yeah, that whole team is dangerous, but again, we appreciate you guys so much for checking out Overreaction Lunes with the Compas. I have to jump off because Brandon Staley will be speaking. So if you guys want any information on that, go to my Twitter at RealFRamirez, and I will have all the updates there. But again, we appreciate you guys so much. Just letting you guys know there will be no Compas on the beat this week. We will be back next week. Daniel said he trusts Herbert to get 21 at least. So there you go. But we will be back next week. Again, we appreciate you guys so much. This week, the Rams play the
Green Bay Packers.
Oh, in Green Bay or?
Yeah, in Green Bay.
So both teams are gone.
Yeah, the Packers stink, but actually, it's gonna be no week at SoFi, no game at SoFi this week.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for coming on from Chile. We appreciate you guys so much. House of Horns will have your Packers and Rams preview. Will Matthew Stafford play? We will see. Dan and Dago and I will have your Chargers preview against the Jets. Trying to get on a Jets beat reporter to kind of break down that team. The only one I missed on was the Chiefs one, so I apologize for that one. But we will try and keep that going. But again, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to let your compas know what your compas on the beat are doing. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. It's only Monday, but hey, it's a good week to have a good week. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.